Good morning, everybody. We're going to get started with our monthly small business owners meetup. We're national. We've got several states joining us each month now, and I think we're up to 7 or 8 different industries, maybe even 9 now. And there's a lot of you out there getting added to the list each month. Even if you can't make it every month, we're going to be here the first Wednesday, 9:30 Central. We're going to get together. We chat with small business owners. It's all self-directed topics. This is like literally like a 12-step program meeting for small business owners. Therapy, whatever you want to call it. Questions, advice. We're going to discuss our challenges, our limitations, things that are bugging us, success stories, wins. We're going to share all that kind of stuff. Got a few rules. We're going to be doing a timer for 4-minute shares. Keep everybody moving throughout the process. Keep people thinking about what they want to say, keeping it concise. Using kindness. We're not going to self-promote, so you just introduce yourself. You can certainly say what business you're in and what you're doing and all that, and we'll go through that some more. Reason for all this: we're trying to better our businesses, better our psyches, better our lives. I mean, it's pretty darn simple, and we've had some amazing gold nuggets come out of these meetings so far. So we're just going to continue doing them. We've got about 8 minutes until we get started. So if you're out there online, certainly give us a call in or shoot me a message if you're not already on our messages. If you want to be included, you can comment from right where you're at, ask us questions. We'll put them up on the screen and get you involved that way, or send me a direct message if you're not already on the link, and I will include you in the live cast as people come in here. So nothing too much. I'll put some music on here while we're waiting for some folks to come in, and I'm going to send the email with the link out to all the people who are already on our email list for this. So take care, everybody. Have a great morning here, and we'll get started shortly here. Boop, boop, ba-doo. We got the sound coming out of the wrong spot. Hold on a second. Hey, Tyler, good morning. You're muted. Oh, maybe you mean to be muted. No, you didn't mean to be muted? I still can't hear you. What happened? Oh, maybe you did. Ah, there. Now I can barely hear you. Good morning. All right. I'm just getting the email sent out to folks too. Music back on. Now I can. Oh, sorry. When I turn the music, that's why I couldn't hear you at all, brother. I'm sorry. Hold on. I got to turn the volume down in a different spot for the music. Otherwise, I turn you down too.
I was like, wait, I'm not mute, but you can't hear me.
All right, there. Now I can hear you all day. So sorry, man.
I've got to get a new webcam because it turns my face beet red.
Oh, yeah. You might be able to actually flip that up a little bit in settings as well. You know,
I don't know where that would be.
us Nordic people, you know, I mean, we just haven't had a whole lot of sun yet this year either, you know?
Yeah. Where would that be? Webcam.
And then I don't think, shoot. And that webcam might not be able to do it. I don't know. But
yeah, it's like a $25 webcam from Amazon, so I'm not too high hopes of it.
I've paid for the royalties for this music, for anybody that cares. People kept asking me, they're like, how do you play music online without getting it muted? And I was like, you got to buy the music.
Where do you buy the license for all that?
I use artlist.io. Yep. All right. Brittany's here. Got my picture and my stuff ready to go today to post for your Google review. Doing a Google review for Brittany today. That's one on my list. Yeah. 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 I took a picture, you know, when I was there, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I still haven't done my due diligence of doing a Google review." So
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I look forward to it, as long as it's nice.
Oh, you know, I mean, we'll see. Oh, the coffee is needed today. Oh, morning, Natalie. Brittany, did you meet Tyler? Were you here last month?
No.
Cool. So Brittany owns Empire Nutrition down the street here on Monona Drive. So
Nice.
if you haven't been in there for a shake, you're a healthy dude. You probably have been. And then Natalie,
Cool.
I can't wait to reveal to you my abs plan. Oh, it's just epic. You're muted. You're muted.
I don't know if I'll do it, but I'll give it.
I don't think you will once you hear the idea.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I've been removing wallpaper for 2 days straight.
Oh man, I saw those pictures. Yeah, I saw those pictures. Screw that.
Wallpaper.
Oh, it should be outlawed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Should be outlawed. There should be a law against it. Now, don't get me wrong. My wife, if she was on right now, she would be, you know, she's an interior designer and they still use it from time to time, right? You know, and
It's
all that
coming
stuff.
back, but not for me.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this much. Anybody that's ever removed it, right, is like, nah, never putting it down again, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, we'll just wait. The timer clicker thingy mabob is counting down here, but we'll probably still, that'll tell us it's 9:30. And we'll wait a couple minutes as we always do to see if people want to come in. Trying to... I didn't know what sound effect it was going to use, and now I'm so happy.
Was that a gong?
That was a gong. Heck yeah.
You should just get your own gong.
Yeah. Well, I'm a drummer, right? So, I mean, like, that's a hardcore percussion instrument. I should. For sure.
I want to use that sound effect anytime I join a Zoom meeting. That's
yeah,
my
right?
from now on.
Right? Well, for those that didn't see it, I guess I could go on. What was that? I think it was Big Timer. Hold on a second. I just searched it. It was bigtimer.net. Bigtimer.net. So when that one counts down, evidently you get a nice, awesome gong at the end. So, hey, Charlie, thanks for jumping on. Got some new folks this week. We'll have some old folks, and then who knows what'll happen here. So I'll turn the music down so it's maybe not annoying to people. So, just to get things going here, we'll go through the rules as I always do. I'm going to kind of set this up a little bit different, just in the sense that depending on how many people we get, we'll set the timer at a certain amount. So if no one here, and I don't care, I'm not ashamed to admit, if nobody's been in any sort of group therapy before, or anybody's never been part of a 12-step, recovery program for alcohol or drug abuse or control abuse or whatever the hell you might have wrong with you, like I do. By the way, you guys are probably all perfect, but I got stuff that's wrong with me. It's just kind of nice to kind of go through and go around the horn, so to speak, share on something, but knowing that you have a limited time to do it, it makes you think about what you're going to say a little bit more, knowing that, you got to kind of get it out, or whatever. Some of the topics that we've gone through in the past, they've all been self-directed, but if you want to, come up with a topic and just say, here's what I'd like to hear other people's thoughts on. You can ask direct questions. You can give advice. You can talk about a challenge or a limitation you're facing. Share a success story or a win that you've had. These are all ideas just to give you all on what you could be doing when you get to your time. I can, with this number of people in the room, I'll just go with whoever unmutes, and we'll, kind of go in some sort of a weird order. I don't know, the pages change and everything else. So don't take a lot of time to explain like a sale or something that you have going on in your business. We don't want to sit here and just self-promote throughout this thing, because then nobody would get anything out of it and nobody would show up. So, certainly say what you do, what industry you're from, and then kind of get to the meat and potatoes. There's only a few rules, and that is that, we're going to exercise kindness on these meetings. We're not going to, like I said, no self-promoting or grandstanding, no hate, no BS, no unasked for criticisms from anybody else. But if you want people to criticize you, go ahead and ask for it, and we'll do it with kindness. And then I think, just for the sake of, we're not going to say no topic is off limits, but as everybody is very well aware, we've got the whole religion, abortion, politics. We've got topics here that, guys, it polarizes the entire country. We can stay away from those. But certainly if you want to make a comment about some, hard issue that you're dealing with, you can do that. I don't want to start debates here on this monthly meeting. So, not trying to control it by all means. Bring up whatever you want to bring up, just trying to keep it an awesome environment. That being said, I'll start by just saying I'm Dan Bertelson. I'm involved in some real estate industry stuff. I was a real estate agent. I was a police officer. I am a combat veteran. I'm a father of 3. I'm definitely messed up. I have ADD, diagnosed and everything, treating it now for the first time as an adult, but I've had it my whole life. Boring kills me. So from that standpoint, I always got to be moving, always got to be shaking, got to be doing something. I think as far as a challenge right now, it would be in the hiring department. As a small business owner, hiring is becoming very difficult these days. We do have an amazing new staff person starting next Monday, and I couldn't be more elated and excited about that. But hiring in general, we've got a couple other smaller positions that we've been trying to fill, and it's amazing to me going through, would-be hundreds of applicants and then finding very, very few people that actually want to show up to an interview on time or show up at all, or they're applying for a job, but they don't actually want to work. So from that standpoint, that part for me has been one of my challenges, or things that if anybody has done hiring before would like to talk about, or maybe you're hiring for the first time, certainly you can talk about it. I'm sure I'm close to my 4 minutes. So I'm gonna pull the rules down off the page, and I'll get a timer up and ready for us, here or whatever. But from that standpoint, is there anybody that would like to, go first and, put themselves out there a little bit? No cussing if you can help it. Certainly we're not going to put this as for kids on YouTube or anything like that, but try and keep it clean the best you can. I'm actually usually the number one violator, but
I was say that's like the pot on the kettle black.
right. So it is Lane, you're unmuted. Do you want to let it rip? Do you got something for us this week? Have you thought about it? Or no, he muted himself right away. Anybody else?
Sure, I'll go.
All right.
Lane Manning, Dreamland Real Estate, your match preferred. I'm a realtor, recruiter, housing developer, etc. So let's talk about what I've been kind of thinking. It's been in the back of my head. One of my daughter's friends, 13-year-old girl, just got diagnosed with something called osteosarcoma. I'm not saying it quite right, but basically sarcoma is it's a cancer. It's a tumor that she's got on her leg. It appears in teenage girls generally. It's very rare. Appears in teenage girls generally, and it's a long bone disease. And I've been struggling with this week how to tell my daughter what's about to come with her friend and how to prepare her to comfort her friend, right? And do I give her all the information? Like, yes, I Googled it, of course. I'm a cancer guy. Usually blood cancer is what I'm working for, Man of the Year, 2020 Man of the Year. So I know blood cancers pretty well, but it's funny because when you reach your sixth one, it's a unique cancer. There isn't a sarcoma society. There isn't funds. When you get this as a parent, and I've talked to a couple of them and helping another parent, but when you get this, you're kind of on your own. There isn't a lot of education. There's a lot of stuff in place. And as a parent, I'm struggling because it's a good friend. They were a little, through COVID, this girl was always at her house. She was in the bubble, right? She was always at the house and taking her around, all this stuff. I'm just struggling with how to tell my kid what's going to happen, right? Because it's going to get way worse. She just went in chemo Monday. All that starting, the whole mess, et cetera, et cetera. So that's what's been on my mind. Is that a okay topic to bring up here for working parents?
Lane, I feel for you. That's a hard position to be in. I would personally tell her everything you can before the internet does.
A bad way to take it, yeah. Somebody else?
Anybody?
We just went through, so it'd be my brother-in-law, 42-year-old.
Oh, and by the way, Randy, sorry to interrupt. If you've never been here before, and if you want to, feel free before you talk, introduce yourself really quick, or at least just say your name and where you're from, what you do.
I can do that. So Randy Ruth from We Insure Badgerland.
How you doing, Randy?
I am doing well. So this was just a couple weeks ago, and the information that we had received, which was, I would consider this falling under the bad news category, was to fully divulge, to not beat around the bush, not use euphemisms, not give it different terms, like lay it straight, because it's everything said that's the best way to convey the message, was to just give it to them. You don't have to paint a horror story, but hiding or giving anything a euphemism was not the best way to go.
Fair enough.
It was not pleasant, by the way. So yeah. I'm not dismissing it as it'll be unpleasant, but seemingly the best way to do it.
So to help shape this conversation a little bit, we're talking about telling the truth, whether it hurts or whether it helps. And I just saw one of my coaches, John Cheplack, write something about that this week. People aren't going to like you for telling the truth, but they're also going to like you for telling the truth. And as long as you just keep telling the truth, you're going to get a little bit of both throughout your whole life, right?
Yeah.
But I think with kids, I wouldn't know how to deal with it. And Randy and your family, they had a death in the family, not far from where you were standing, laying down in Destin, Florida, with your family, and a drowning, going out to help some kids that got pulled away in a riptide, and Randy's brother-in-law didn't make it back, but the kids did. Dying a hero's better than, I suppose, dying other ways. But he had 3 kids, right? So, man, that's just a rough one. There's no good way, right?
Yeah. I appreciate that, Randy. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, man.
Certainly.
Has anybody else had to deal with that? That children aren't much different than colleagues, by the way. Bad news comes to us all the time. How do you deal with that in the workplace? How do you deal with that in the family? How do you deal with that in your household? Right. My uncle just found out cancer's back in a major way. Who hasn't heard that story a million times already now, right? We're almost getting used to it. How do you stay positive? You're muted, Lane.
So that might be a better way to put it. How do you stay positive while delivering that? How do you keep them up? That's kind of ahead. How do I basically prepare her to support the young lady for what she's got coming up? That's why truth, I think, makes the most sense, right?
Sure.
You got a huge role coming up. She's got a job to do, but you have a bigger job, or at least equal job, keeping her ahead in the game, because that's where you're going to have to help.
And if you're one of the many, there's a bunch of people watching online, according to our little counter thing right now. If you're online and you have advice for what we're talking about too, make a comment, even if you don't want to come on and share it. With veterans that have lost limbs and lost abilities or whatever, I know one of the things that they concentrate hardcore on is look at what these people have been able to do over here. So they start using these very shiny and awesome examples of what people have been able to do even while challenged by a sickness or a cancer or whatever, right? Like these kids. So I think helping that person focus on where people have beat this cancer, what happens to kids that have beat it, or you got to go with those, right? The success stories. Because if you're dealing with a giant challenge, you got to go to the wins. You got to go to the success stories. I don't know. I'm not trying to hog the meeting here. Death has a way of silencing a room.
Yeah, this is Tony Pacello.
Hey, Tony.
How's it going, guys?
The 608 team. How are you doing this morning?
608 team. Yeah, I just started in real estate in January, so I'm a baby and having a blast and happy to be a part of Remax for sure. But Lane, yeah, I don't have kids or anything, but my dad's battled cancer before, and not only cancer, but whatever it might have been. I've always been super appreciative of him being extremely honest, like brutally honest, with us, and then kind of letting us, my brother and I, absorb whatever information it was. And then him showing his strength, right? Like he's like, all right, this is the situation. This is the objective task at hand, and let that sink in. And then like, I'm ready to kick cancer's butt, and it's like, okay, if you're ready, and if you're strong about it, then I can be strong about it too.
No, thanks, man.
That's huge.
Not using who?
Yeah, right.
Well, and I was gonna say too, like, I mean, it's not like we want to sit there and always like focus on people that have it worse off, right? But like that's what we always used to say, like when we were stuck in a really crappy spot, especially when I was sitting overseas and I was in places I just didn't want to be. And I was forced to be there. Like you're forced to live with cancer, you're forced to fight cancer. I would just think about how worse it could be. And I know that's probably not a good mentality always to use or whatever, but like I'm sitting there going, okay, what's my challenge of the day? I'm not going to lie, guys. My email signature is all screwed up. I don't know what happened to the pictures on it, right? Like I had it all set up the way I like it. And all of a sudden Google did some bullshit. So see there. I knew I was going to do it.
Swear jar!
Yeah. Oh, swear jar. Yeah. But we were, something happened and now it's blown away and it's gone. Right. And I can sit there and I was annoyed. Part of that's because of who I am, like I'm annoyed about something stupid and small. Well, how easy it is for me now to be like, I'm not a parent with a kid with cancer. Get over the email signature or get over that, that virtual tour person that just yelled at you. Right. Charlie, you might have, angry people. I don't know. You show up and I know how it is, man. So, but like, no matter what what industry you're in or whatever, there's these little things, Brittany, you got your shop up down the street. I'm sure there's like when people come in and it's like, you give them a full spiel. They came in, they're talking about the, wanting to be healthy or whatever. You give them the full spiel and they're like, yeah, I just wanted to see what it was about. I'm out. It's like, you're here, patronize. You just learned a bunch about, protein shakes and what this business has to offer. You're not asking them to buy a house on the spot. You're asking them to invest a moment in their health. Right. So, I mean, I don't know. It's about big things and small things, or whatever. I let small things get to me all the time, and it helps remind me that there's, oh my God, there's be so many worse things going on.
Brittany, what is your business about? What do you do?
I own Empire Nutrition, so I have meal replacement shakes and energizing teas. I'm a wellness coach as well, so I help people get on their fitness programs.
Health
And wellness.
Yeah. It's
How long
a needed industry, right?
Yeah, so I've been a wellness coach for like a year and a half, and so I just opened Empire Nutrition in February. Here, I'm from La Crosse on Alaska.
Oh, okay. My wife's from Sparta.
Oh, yeah, we have one there too.
And all the military people on the call, or at least Army people, have all partied in Sparta. Does that count?
I believe it does.
That's awesome. Charlie, why don't this is your first, I think this is your first, were you here last month?
No, this is my first time.
Well, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself too?
Yeah, so I'm Charlie Shimoleski. I recently started Virtual House Media. We specialize in real estate, photography, videography, virtual tours, all of that stuff. And today is the day that I could make it because I had my second COVID shot yesterday, and I just decided to clear up my schedule and
awesome
try to just see if it was going to be a rough day or not. And so far it's been pretty good. So.
That's awesome, man. Well, and if I can give you a quick little plug, your scheduling abilities are awesome, and your communication, I've already heard that from a lot of our people, which I don't care what business you are in. Communication is always like right up there at the top of what can make or break you. And if anything that leads me to a topic, because I just definitely want to get to like a business topic of sorts too. And please, if anybody has one, throw it out here. I do not need to direct these, but
run with that one, Dan.
Yeah, I'll let you respond to it then. Communication channels, what you're using. Go ahead.
So one of the things that I noticed, I just started my business last February, so it's
wow, great timing.
Yeah, right as the pandemic came in, and I was pleasantly greeted by a lot of demand because people wanted virtual tours, and that was something that I did. But what happened was when people would call in, they'd try to schedule my time, and before I knew it, I was I had 3 or 4 people that I was trying to figure out which times work for them, and it became pretty challenging. And then I started researching it and found an app called Calendly. I believe you might use it, Dan.
I use it daily. Yeah, daily.
It is amazing. I pay for a premium Calendly subscription. I think it's like $10 a month or something like that. And it makes it super easy to schedule time, and just people can go right on my website and look at the calendar and see what's available and book it. And it took quite a bit of time setting it up. So if anybody's ever considering that, I welcome you to give me a call, and I can help you avoid the pitfalls I found.
That's awesome, man. It's huge because it is a little bit complicated setting it up, but I can't stress enough once it is.
Yeah. So Calendly is pretty amazing. It really just, it helps streamline my process. Yeah.
Is there anything else, not to hit on you if you don't have something right away, other than scheduling in your business, do you have something that you're still trying to tackle? Is there something that you're, because you're just a little over a year into your business, whether it be, equipment or, whatever, any other kind of help that you need? Is there any other challenges that are kind of still there that you're trying to figure out yet?
Yeah, there's always challenges. Technical challenges. The the industry is consistently changing, and there's always innovations, and there's different products. So I'm buying new things and testing them out and then sending them back sometimes, and just seeing what I can do that's that works the best, looks the best, is quick to operate, and delivers a quality product. So
does anybody have any response to any of that? If you do not, I know one of the things I was texted yesterday, and this should go for everybody that's here. This person texted me a new domain that they were going to maybe get for their website. I believe we all have websites here, right? Mm-hmm. And they were like, "Hey, I want to, do something new and exciting, and I'm gonna use this new domain." And I was like, "Oh, well, it's a really cool domain name. Are you gonna rebuild a brand around that domain then, and kind of because it didn't have anything to do with their current business. It was new." And I was like, just a website domain is only part of your business. I don't care what industry you're in, right? Like, it's just a website, right? We've got all these channels now, and I'm literally just trying to, kind of get through to people. Like, you don't need to reinvent yourself every time you find something new. And that's what hit me when you were like, there's always new crap coming. Uh-huh. And I think we all need to be careful that the new stuff, the shiny objects in the room, or whatever, don't screw us over from just working on what's already there. And what I mean by that is, like, some people are like, I hate my website, so I'm going to start over. New domain, new logo, new brand, new. And literally 18 months later, they're in the same exact spot that they were, which is they now have a 18-month-old website that is at the same level of update and everything else that it was a year and a half ago. It's just they put an enormous amount of effort into it. Earlier this year with Michael, he's not on the call. We were talking about how these especially at the beginning of the year, and Brittany, this would speak to your industry, like especially like when people making New Year's resolutions about their health and wellness, and they need to like completely transform their health and wellness. So they make these gigantic, promises to themselves. Guys, this translates across everything we do in business. Don't try to reinvent the wheel in your industry. Do not try to fix the entire thing by renewing it. Just tweak it. Make whatever it is that you already have a little bit better. I'll explain a project here, and certainly raise your hand if you've got something you want to say. Linktree. I don't know if anybody's heard of Linktree before, right? But one of the challenges that we're dealing with as small business people is the channels we all need to be on. It's here, I've got it up right in front of me. Sorry. It's linkt.ee, right? So this has been around for a long time. This is not something that's new. I'll put it up on the screen for people watching at home here too. This is a place to like host all of your channels, all of your stuff, your website, your telephone number, your Instagram handle, your Facebook handle, your YouTube handle, right? Because we've now got all these channels. And let's be honest, if you're a small business person, you need to be on all these channels, but you don't necessarily need to be reinventing. I've heard people always say, I got to get into TikTok, or I got to get into this, or I got to get into that, or I have to completely redo my Facebook page, or my this, that, and the other. And I would argue, just like it is with health and wellness, just like it is with anything else, you're so much better off taking one aspect. Maybe it's what you put in your body, not in your body, your whole workout routine, your whole sleeping routine, your whole fitness routine, your whole whatever. You don't need to attack your entire, health and wellness platform to get one part of it down. You start somewhere and tweak it. And so the tweak it 20 thing is what kind of came out of that. It's called, tweak it 20%. Whatever challenge you're having, whatever thing you have, tweak it by 20%. Do not redo it. That is a trap. Not to mention around that first time of the year, or business coaches in general, people like me, that's how they trap you into reinventing yourself. Come sign up with me and reinvent yourself. Are you kidding? You will drown. It will never work. You don't need to completely reinvent anything. You need to tweak it and make it a little better. And the next year, a little better. And the next year, a little better. And you need to do that we need to do that across a lot of different, topics or aspects of our lives and business, right? Is there anybody? Yeah, go ahead, Charlie.
Yeah. I just finished a book recently called The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. It really dives into that topic in depth about how just making minor changes, little decisions throughout your day can have a wildly impactful result over time. And he dives into it. And often in the book, he'll say, it's really easy to do, but it's also really easy not to do it. And just talks about all the little things that are, really easy to do every day, but super easy not to do it. And that's why 95% of the world doesn't do it.
Yeah. Does anybody have any, because I can tell you why I don't do some things sometimes, and I didn't realize this, but I have adult ADD, and a lot of people joke about that, and they do the, oh, squirrel, joke or whatever when they're up on stage, or, a lot of speakers have ADD and different things like that. And it's become like this big joke, but it's no joke. It's not been a joke for my wife. It's not been a joke for some of my family members, right? Like, it's not a joke. But if I don't treat something that is wrong, or whatever, it'll stop you from doing those tiny, from tweaking those tiny little things. I didn't really notice that until I was actually medicated, right? Like, it was unreal. It was like you go from a day where I'm like, I have 17 things to do and I got one done, to I have 17 things to do and I knocked out 9. Right. So recognizing your weaknesses, and I know that's, kind of on my thing for rules for the week, but like, does anybody want to get a little vulnerable at this point and share a weakness that they've overcome? Does anybody have anything down there?
I'll share something with you, Dan. A couple of weeks ago, I was just exhausted, and it was to the point of being exhausted that I was getting frustrated with anything and everything. I actually, even Lane can probably even smile about it. I spoke with my partner, my business partner, my spouse. He's like, you need a vacation. I talked to Lane, and I was like, am I crazy for, being upset about this? And he's kind of like a little bit, it's, and he's like, I've looked at your numbers, Natalie, you need a vacation. And, but I was looking around my house, and as you know, and many people know, my house has been under construction for 5 years, living on subflooring, wallpaper half off. It just, it's a great house. It just needs to be finished. And I said to my kids were in the room, and I said, I need a new problem. And my son, who is 15, was like, I said, you need a new problem. You will always have problems. But if the same problem is haunting you over and over and over and over again, it's time to get a new problem. Fix that one and move on. So we were going to plan a trip to Nashville. And I was looking around. I'm like, you know what? I want this house done. I want it done. I want a new problem. And so here I am at the True Hilton, while the painter and Josh has been sleeping in the dust for days. And I haven't, because he's very good like that. But that kind of goes back to, like, I'm not reinventing my entire home. I'm just getting a new problem. You're always going to have problems, but I kept burying it. And then I'm surrounded in this chaos, and business is good, and I'm very blessed, but I was almost resentful of it. Shame on me for being like, oh my God, I have to go and do this again. Girl, you're lucky.
Right.
You just capped at Remax Preferred.
I just put up on the screen for you, Natalie, when was the last time you took a vacation? But then the word after that, which is, I think, is what's going to hit you guys. Brittany's got a customer coming, so she's got to run. Guilt. When you're a business owner, and I think this should relate to everybody here on this call, when you're not working, there's a level of guilt, because when you're a business owner, you're on all the time. The buck stops with you, right? And so there's that guilt that can exist. And I'm right there with you. Christy and I got to go lovely down to Florida, visit my folks last month, but we took the kids. we've had the kids with us every single day for about a little over a year. And Christy and I were supposed to, just the two of us, go do something next week. And guilt is working its way in the door here. And we're talking about not doing anything, like whatever, because, well, we've got a lot of responsibilities. We got a lot of things going on, or whatever. And we're talking ourselves out of it. And it's not okay. Does anybody else here deal with this guilt that I describe? Is there,
Absolutely. This is, it is, stuck and go around as a business owner. And I used to interject ways to put myself in on my days off when I used to be in the restaurant business, right? Like, I don't really need to go in, but I'd tell my wife, I'm just going to go in for 20 minutes to make sure this is all right. And then 6.5 hours later, I come home and she'd be like, well, what's going on? I said, well, I started with this and then I moved to this. And then, next thing you know, I've worked an entire day, honestly. And I think though, Dan, that sometimes when you get into stuff like that, I'm wired that way. That's not going to change. I'm never going to change. I just know that. It's taken me now 2 go-arounds as a business owner to figure that out. So I know. So when I leave, I do feel guilty because I know that, like, that's my thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think at some point we all need to transition out when you have the capacity to. And a thing that I've learned this year is, one, I'm also ADD, and I'm sure you know that. I'm sure you can figure that out. I'm very ADD.
I'm no psychiatrist.
But I've also learned that look, human beings were hunter-gatherers for 250, 300,000 years, and they became sedentary and started to farm. And then, the Industrial Revolution is 200 years old, not even. And so the form that we've all been living in is a very new form, right? The reason that it's built into your DNA to be ADD, Dan, because you need to know where danger and opportunity is all the time.
Yep.
Right? That's not going to change. You're never going to change. That's not a bad thing, but you just need to understand. And I'm the same way. And this is the first year where I've hired somebody to take care of the stuff that I know I'm not going to do. And that huge for me to be able to get stuff done, because I just know, man, I have some software that my team uses to keep track of everything. And the lists are long. And at first I was like, I'll just handle it. And now nothing ever got done. Never, ever. Right. So then I just started assigning it slowly over and over to other people, and magically stuff started getting done. Yeah, right.
It is a magic. There is a magic to that.
And I just know what you are, right? I think that's the biggest part, is know what you are and who you are, and you can get past a lot of that stuff. But
it's why I have people helping me.
Of me saying, and I'm so happy that I was actually to explain that concept to my kid of, like, new problem.
Mm-hmm.
Bring it on. There's always going to be a problem. Let's get something new. Create,
Yeah.
This old complaining about this every single day for years. Why? Because there's always something else I can tackle. There's always something new. Just hire it out. Because that was my big thing. It's like, I don't want to hire somebody. No. I painted one room, never going to paint again. And I ain't never going to do wallpaper again either.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I will say this. I mean, what money, right? And resources and allocation, delegation, those are all things that are being, mentioned right now. I can tell you right now, somebody just started on a rock wall in my yard this morning. It's money I did not budget or allocate for my wall. I needed a rock wall in my yard or whatever. It wasn't in the budget. It's not there. I literally last week, a Bobcat was going to be delivered. Now, I've got a couple 100 hours in a Bobcat. I know how to work one. I can stack stones. That's physical work that I can do. Am I good at it? Hell no. Am I efficient at it? Hell no. But I can do it. And because I didn't allocate those resources or whatever, I'm like, oh, well, that's on me then. I didn't allocate it. So boom, I got to go do it. And had I done that, I would have royally screwed over 2 weeks of my life on my other responsibilities. I would be on this call right now, and my mind wouldn't even be here. I'd be exhausted, trying to get all those other things done. And instead, it's like Lane's taking on a new position, helping me out with some things. I got into business. Randy with Randy. Randy is an amazing insurance operator, and it's something we needed here at the company. Plugging these different pieces in, working with people, coaching helps me coach me. If I'm staying accountable to other people, well, then I'm staying accountable to me, right? You guys have all seen some of my workout videos or whatever. I'm not a fitness. I am not in the health and wellness like Brittany is, right? But I practice it. I practice it and I post those videos because I didn't want to be one of those people who 6 years ago, and if I showed you guys the pictures, when I weighed 232 pounds instead of my, 175 pounds that I weigh today, that's how much weight was there or whatever. Well, I didn't want to be one of these people who posted a video about how well I did for myself. Look at me. And then 2 years later, I wasn't able to keep it up. I wasn't able to make it stick. And so now I keep making those videos. And if I hit a week where, like when we went to Florida, 9 days, I didn't work out, and coming back, I was like, oh, I just did not want to do this, or whatever. Well, then I was like, oh my God, everybody that knows I've been putting out videos for 4 years now, they're going to know, they're going to know that I was a fraud, or they're going to know that I gave up. And so it made, like, literally me having to post videos to social media, which sounds completely dumb. I don't get paid for them. They don't help me in any way, shape, or form. They've helped other people, but they've helped me stay accountable at least. And I didn't have to pay for it. I would argue some people need to pay for accountability, and I've had to do it over the years as well. But I know that reaching out to people and helping others is how it helps you. There's no ifs, ands, or buts there. It's part of why I wanted to keep, growing this, which, by the way, if anybody doesn't have any more topics, we don't need to hold on for a full hour or anything like that. For those of you watching online, it says there's 11 of you out there. If you guys want to pose any questions for us to hash out here, the panel to hash out, or answer, please, by all means, make a comment down below right now. If not, that's totally fine. We'll jump off. But does anybody have any, challenge or something they want to share before we go? We'll do a little round robin and say goodbye. Otherwise, if you guys have another topic, we can keep going for a little bit. No? I'll take the silence as a no. All right. Sounds
Dan,
good.
I just wanted to touch on the when you had talked about how you're so engaged. Eric, you were speaking on it as well, how you dive into business and feel guilty when it's when you're in your off time. I dealt with that as well. Even as an agent in an agency, like, you're still your own beast. Like, you're creating your own money, doing whatever. And I had spoken with someone who had told me, and they're like, well, treat your marriage like you own the business. Like, without the expectation, like, you couldn't just expect that insurance people were going to call your phone, send you emails, ask for quotes, do whatever. Treat your marriage, significant other, whatever your other things are, treat them like you're a business owner in that one, and devote as much time and attention as you would to your business as you do to your personal life. Like, you have meetings with your other owner, your significant other is they're another owner of it as well. Well, you do that without your employees. Yep, I would do that in my office all the time. Well, then that means I can have meetings with my wife without the kids. I can take time with her without the kids, because I would do that with my employees. Kids aren't exactly employees, but you do need time away from them, because sure, they can have a say in some stuff, but they won't get a say in most stuff.
Right.
And so taking that time isn't wrong, bad. It's natural in a business setting to make decisions, take time, spend away from it. It's okay to do that at home as well, because the business owners got to work together and work on things to make them good. Because if they're not good, the business isn't good. That's just one way to get your brain to get my brain to look at stuff, to treat it as as much as I would my own career.
I think I don't know what you call that when you take your situational awareness and then put it in a different situation. But that, for me, what you just said hit me up hard, because as soon as this phone call is done, I'm calling my wife and we're going to plan on what we're doing. You know, I'm not going to take no for an answer, not to myself, and I'm not going to let her either. We had a comment come in online. I put it on screen. I know you guys can't see it, but it's from Laura Reed. She is an office owner out in South Carolina. And she says, all great stuff. Thanks for doing this. It's all inspiring. And that's great. Laura, sorry, I got to call you out just a little bit because you're here. Laura had to split up with a business partner that she had very recently, and was worried, had a lot of decisions to make and everything. And if there's anything that I can say that her story has inspired me, she just opened another amazing office location for her business and everything else. But what was cool is it's going to work out. And that's what I'd love to share with everybody that's on this call, or anybody that's listening. If you keep showing up and being you, there's a reason it got started. Whatever it is that you started, there's a reason it got started. You just have to keep showing up and it will work out. Everything will work out. You know, it just will. And sometimes that doesn't feel good enough to just hear, but it will. And you got to keep telling yourself that. You got to use good positive self-talk and all that stuff. You can't let it get you down. And Laura is a prime example of that. Man, lots of worries, lots of different things, and she just put on there too. It's all about showing up and reaching out. She didn't give up. She got support from who she needed to and drove on and did what she needed to do. And it's inspiring for me because, like, we don't understand who's watching. Just remember that too, especially when it comes to like social media and the platforms we're on right now. And for what Randy's comment just hit me the hardest was, your friends are watching, your family, the people that care about you are watching. They're there. They get it. They understand it. They might not be saying anything. They might not know everything that's going on or whatever, but they're watching. They care. We care. All that good stuff. So Michael's jumping on a little late. I think we're going to jump off. And I hope everybody on the call, please. Charlie, you're new. Tyler, I know had to take a call. Brittany, anybody that's in a different industry as well, we're really looking for other business owners. I know it's hard to get like a landscaping professional to show up at 9:30 in the morning on a weekday or something like that. So I would love to entertain as well doing this on an evening. If you're talking to other business owners and that you've invited, like, hey, you could probably share something really cool for this group. And like, another business owner that's really like overcome, or maybe they're just having a hard time. Let's do this at 7:30 at night or 8 o'clock at night one time, get some people from some different industry or hours that can't make it. So if you run into that question, I'd love to come to something like that, but I can't do it at 9:30 on a Wednesday morning, please let me know. We'll take a month and change it up and do it in the evening or something like that. So, but reach out to some other businesses. I don't care where they are in the country, where we learn more from people outside of our industries than we ever can within. So,
Dan, can I encapsulate something that you said before?
Please.
So something that I've always, well, not always clearly, because not always, but I've learned, or I don't remember where I heard it, but you were talking about, showing up and doing your stuff and people are watching and things just sort of work out if you keep after it. I do remember a long time ago when somebody asked Yogi Berra about how he was so good for so many years. And he's like, I don't know, but he said 99% of life is just showing up. And every time I like think about like, or I don't want to do something, and this isn't 100%, right? Because there's definitely stuff that I don't follow up on. But when I start to like piss and moan to myself about it, and then I just think about, it's just show up, right? That's all you got to do is just show up. And more often than not, it'll work out. So I think that's, with a lot of people, that's just the primary thing, is they're just not even invested in that first step into getting into it. If you just do it, if you just show up, it'll work out.
Just put a comment up on the screen to close that out. Thank you for re-hitting that. But how awesome do you need to be? How awesome do you all need to be? And the question is, why don't you just try shooting for being a happy adult? Like, bottom of the line. Just try to be a happy adult, and everything else will work itself out. Don't worry about it too much, right? Thanks guys for coming this week. Thanks for sharing and involving yourself in the conversation. I know this helps an enormous amount of people. I'll start sharing without their identities some of the comments that I get in between the months with you guys, because stuff that you guys say, by the way, helps people more than you can ever imagine. That conversation we started the day off with, I guarantee you there's a bunch of people dealing with children and hard, conversations with cancer. I guarantee there's other business stuff that we get into here. This helps a bunch of people hearing it. And it takes a lot of gusto, takes a lot of bravery to sit up here, on a camera and talk and whatever. I know that's a lot of people's fear out there sometimes. I cannot express to you guys how thankful I am for how much this helps other people. It really, really does. I get the messages from them. Some of them are too scared. They're never going to comment. They're never going to come on here. But they're watching, and it helps people. So thank you guys for being here. Have a great rest of your Wednesday, a great wrap up to your month. And hopefully we see you next month. So anybody have anything to say? You just want to say bye? Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Take care,
Good
everybody.
luck, Lane.
Yeah.